Hi.
Welcome, watchers, runners, and gods of the time stream. Make sure that your chairs and your tables haven't been scorched by either fireballs or firewalls. When you find an empty chair that hasn't been burnt, grab it, conjure a table, and join us to talk about all things the dungeon run. I'm so excited for today's episode. To talk about it. We have a special guest. We have two special guests, actually. Ron Ogden himself has graciously agreed to come on here today, and we have the amazing community member JloFett. Before we dive in, because I'm already super excited. This watch party show is pretty amazingly produced, and that's thanks to Dyson Capes, and a lot of thanks to the birthday boy himself. Happy birthday, Corbin Play. I know I've said that like 50,000 times today, but you really are an amazing part of this community. You really are an amazing person in my life personally. You're great, and happy freaking birthday.
Happy
Um,
birthday.
he's great. He was the one who did our intro. So yeah, happy birthday. For the record, if it's anyone's birthday and you're one of those poo-pooey people who don't want to celebrate it, just tell me. I'll celebrate your birthday for you. Okay? Celebration is fun. Uh, so that aside, thank you guys all for joining us today. It's super exciting for you guys to join us every week, and it's awesome. So for the episode, Ingrid, I'm going to let you go first today as far as your opening thoughts and your rating, and I will follow right behind you.
Well, I think that this was a good day in the case of Uggo versus Whitebeard in how much bug juice was smashed. And so I'm going to give today an 8, partially because of how awesome the map room did on 2 freaking awesome maps. So kudos to you guys. But pretty good show. I really enjoyed it.
An 8. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Um, I also agree. I think that the MVP this week has to be the map room. Just how beautifully, I guess shot isn't necessarily the right word, but shot. The way that they saw, like they had the up angles and then the down angles, seeing what the NPCs were seeing.
It was
Uh,
awesome. It was very
yeah,
cinematic feeling.
very yes. It was just beautiful, and all the creatures. I love it. It was great. They were the MVPs for sure. I feel like though for me, this episode was definitely more of a prep episode to getting into the well.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, I think it was good. I think the map room was awesome. For me, another thing that was really awesome was chat. Chat was off the chart with their puns and their jokes, and it was a highlight to me. We'll talk about it more when we dive in. I'm gonna give this episode a 6.5. Was pretty
Okay.
good. Was pretty good. But I definitely feel it was more of a prep pre-battle to what we're about to experience. I also want to say real quick before we really dive into to Uncle Gramps. Thank you for all the health potions. I know I need it after the day that I've had, and it's been a while since I've reminded everybody that if you guys give any props or any type of donation to the stream, it goes straight back into the dungeon run. All of it goes straight back into this amazing show that we love so much. So thank you, and please feel free to never do that. But yes, thank you guys so much. So why don't we dive right into? I know you said you wanted to do a little bit of research on how they got into the battle. So why don't you take it away?
Right. So, originally Fahima wanted to go and just check out all these bugs, see what makes them tick, what do they eat, what are some possible weaknesses, especially about that hive. It might be a big deal. And so I was really hoping that she would get that opportunity not in initiative to be able to do some really good research because she's really good in battle. She's a lot of offensive type spells and stuff that are incredibly helpful. And we saw those later in the battle, but that original bit of the battle, it was definitely I really applaud the whole party for giving her that space and that time in the original 1 or 2 rounds of initiative saying she's doing some investigation for us while invisible. I thought that was a great plan. And Civ was like, okay, I'm going to go and scout around, go around this other direction and just, kind of see from the other side and help her out if she needs it or something like that. So I thought that was a great idea on his behalf. Unfortunately, he ran into one of those spine creatures, and that's what started initiative. So, thankfully, that didn't really necessarily bring up anybody's alert system. Nobody screamed or yelped out in pain whenever Civ got stabbed, but it was unfortunate that her investigation had to start in initiative. So I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more out of it. She could have snuck up quicker, closer, quieter, stuff like that. So that's kind of my only sadness about that bug fight. Otherwise, it was a freaking awesome bug fight. Squash them bugs. Y'all made me happy because bugs are creepy, especially whenever you combine a wasp with a scorpion. No, thank you. No, thank you.
uh, I think, to be honest, I totally agree. I think it would be fun to see the party overall do more like recon type
Yeah,
scenarios, which I think is what Behemoth was attempting to do. But I will
exactly.
say they kind of beasted this fight pretty quickly. I don't think necessarily the recon for this specific fight was necessary, but I am all for it. I agree with you. I think in the future they should let Fahima do more investigating in general.
Yeah.
Everyone in chat is talking about the amazing Ring of Fire.
Yes.
It was pretty awesome. We've all kind of known how amazingly dangerous Behemoth can be, but it's for me. It's been a while since I think that she has been able to use fire in an effective way due to like the castle rum and the viscount and everything. So it was fun to just
Right.
kind of see her literally burn everything.
She
It
can do some
was
really big show moves. Like whenever the Shazengao were coming to attack Whitebeard's Itch, I really appreciated that she knocked out that mast on the Shazengao ship. That's a big show thing that takes out their speed. It also they have to go and take care of that. Is incredibly dangerous. You might have squashed some Shazengao. Like that's a big awesome item. And so I really appreciate just about any kind of battle that she can just go and do well bam, and it's like a center huge kind of a spell that really takes out a good portion of what the enemy can handle. Like they have to put their focus towards that or they have to get away from it. Like she does a lot of really cool moves that way.
yeah, I agree, and it was really awesome to see her kind of shine figuratively and literally in this episode. I want to point out though, for two things before I say my comment. Mickey Wolf, hello, hi, and we love you, and I'm so happy you finally get to join us after so long. You are awesome. So first of all, thank you all for joining us, but we all haven't seen Mickey Wolf in a while, so it's exciting. And two, so back to beat chat being amazing and Fahima just being Fahima. My one of my favorite part. I literally spit out my drink. The part where like the hive, the queen bee was coming out, and Uggo has her face smashed, and Siv's like stabbing her, and James just got done shocking her, and then Fahima's just like, "Milady," and sorry, I have to. And then my the candle queen herself in chat said, "Your Grace, does it hurt?" And I literally just busted up. It was so funny to me. It was so hilarious because I just picture it in my head, and she's just like, "Milady," and it was just the funniest thing ever for me. High five
And then it
to
was hilarious.
Fahima
They're
and to
like,
the
hold on
candle
just a
queen.
sec, let's try and talk to her. Oh, it's not working. And then they go back to bashing its head in.
But it was your Grace. Like they're literally beating her up, and she's just out of nowhere being respectful. I thought it was hilarious. And also to chat, there were so many funny like puns. Someone gave again, chat was cracking me up the whole time. Someone gave Jeff a disadvantage for switching to white wine. I love it. I love it so much. Chat is on fire. I'm so glad that I get to be in the live show nowadays because they really are fun. But yeah, I think Bahima talking to the to the queen was definitely a highlight for me. I also loved how Lily had her slap fight with the Quill Man, and like neither of them were hitting each other, when she was just like, "Fine," and I hit it with my crossbow. It was hilarious.
And then later on, Uggo and Civ are like, "That's not how you use the crossbow." Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I loved that. But yeah, I think overall they pretty much beasted the bugs right away, which is fine. You can tell it was definitely a pre-fight, and the amount of nat 20s that occurred on this episode was
Oh
insane.
my gosh. I can't wait to see that crit ribbon come back. Whereas do do do. I think that would be super cool to see because wow, it would have that horn would have been playing all evening long.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then so afterwards they go into the well, which I thought it was interesting how I loved and hated the dynamic between Lily and Whitebeard. But I'm so curious, like James, why can't they just give him a candle to light his way? I don't get it. But anyway, the map room, seriously, I can't stress enough how beautiful it was. And I really do love the cinematic view of when you like look over. You could see how deep this. I'm like, you guys can't even see what I'm doing, but anyway, like just how far down it went. And I know that Uggo flew down with the two ladies 120 feet, and that wasn't even the bottom.
I don't even know how any of them don't have a fear of heights. Like, especially with James and how much he keeps falling off of things. You would think that he'd start developing a fear of heights, but it didn't seem to affect him at all. But I mean, that's just my thought. Like, that's a long way to fall if there's like an earthquake or something that's gonna knock me off, like a bat.
Chef Scott in chat says Lily should, which yeah, after Lily's experience, I could see her developing a little fear of heights. Uh, but I think they've been through a lot, and I think they're ready at this point. I will say another highlight of this episode for me was Uggo finally kind of getting to fly. But we talked about this, but when he like a little like shot from a superhero movie, when he shoots down and he puts the two ladies down and he says, "Take care of each other," like all cheesy and corny, and then literally like flies up. That was hilarious to me. Uh, I'm I'm curious to see how many creatures are in this tavern cave thing.
I think we've only scratched the surface, and I'm not looking forward to this next round of creatures. But we can talk about that later, because.
Bugs, spiders everywhere, bats. I loved how the bats stung Sim. The evil part of me wishes that he did kind of fall the whole way because it would have been funny. It would have been funny, but I would never wish that upon anyone.
Yeah, and
Obviously.
that would have been almost a bisive new character.
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
Well,
But
those ledges were not very far apart, stacking downward as like
mm-mm.
steps and stuff, and so I'm really thankful that he was kind of hugging those steps a little bit, so that way he could only fall 10 feet, which that still hurt him pretty good. But gosh, that's scary business right there.
Well, he's lucky he got like out of it. Like he's lucky he saved his
Yes.
concentration because they've already made it clear that the party above and the party below him couldn't hear him, and the bats were all over him, and it was kind of like I did fear for Civ a little bit. I'm like that could be dangerous. He already
Yeah.
expressed he wasn't doing well health wise. Uh, so I found it interesting. Uh Chef Scott says, speaking of hugging, how about the Whitebeard Lily ship? There is no Whitebeard and Lily ship, okay? There is no Whitebeard and Lily ship. That's how I feel about that non-existent ship. Corbin Plate says cats land on their feet. So true, so true. We actually made a joke about like if he were to fall, how many of his 9 lives, how many of his 9 lives he would have lost. Uh, yeah,
He might have already lost a couple of them in some of these battles where it's been really close calls.
Yeah. Civ hasn't had too many, but when he does get close, he gets close to losing it. Um, but I just really love how I think this episode really set up a good scene for the very next episode. I think that they're in it at this point, and again with the spiders, I love the way that Jeff said the spiders start hatching and she comes out, and I do love how Fahima was just like babies because I don't think she's gonna show them mercy. I don't think she will. But it's Fahima, so really, what do I know? Fahima's unpredictable, and I love it. So it'll be exciting. Whitebeard say his new name. Hornus, I don't know what Whitebeard's new name is. Oh, White Braid. I literally read that as Whitebeard. Uh, thank you, Wookie King. My boyfriend actually made this cup for me, by the way.
Oh, that's cool.
I collect mugs, so it's cute. So yeah, I'm honestly excited to see how Fahima is going to kind of handle the bugs because they're definitely creatures. I don't know. Fahima, I think it really depends on Fahima's mood, to be honest with you. We've seen her in all directions. So yes, Jessica Lynn Parsons, it'll be very curious to see how she reacts to them. But I love it. I'm excited. It should be fun. Any last thoughts before we bring on our first amazing guest?
Just kill him dead. I don't like spiders. I don't like spiders at all. Just kill him dead. Fire everywhere. You're surrounded by stone. It's okay. Just kill him dead. It's fine. That's all I ask.
Corbin Slade says FailWaffle is deluding herself. Behemoth's gonna adopt all of the babies. Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
No.
We'll see. I would actually like that myself, but
only if they can work for her. But even then, I don't know if I can handle that. It's gonna creep into my nightmares, folks, and I just.
I hope so. I'm so deathly. I used to be afraid of spiders, but I'm really excited to see that little the eggs popping. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get that vision in our head a little later.
Let's think about something happier.
Yeah, like Ron Ogden.
Yes,
I think that's so freaking happy. I don't even know if you're backstage yet, Ron. But if you are, I guess not. I totally forgot you need my camera. Yes, Ron, we do need your camera.
I'd like to see your face. It's always nice to see your face.
Jessica Lynn Parsons says Fahima, not Jessica. Yes. I also want to point out, Jess, that you are apparently the only Jessica that's allowed to exist. So I think you are the Jessica. I'll stick with just being FailWaffle. I just love how many people always think in the YouTube chat how we're like the same. Since Ron apparently is getting his camera, stall talk. Fine, we don't need a stall talk. Why don't we bring on our commercial now then, and they can see who's sponsoring this episode.
So our commercial is from Swash's Squashes. And so this is for all of your bug killing needs. It's a weapon shop for bug killing specifically.
Really?
Yes. Right on down here at Swash's Squashes, we got ourselves a plethora of weapons just for you. You need something to take out an infestation on a vast scale of huge proportions? Well, you just come right on down here. We got things that squash, we got things that stab, and we got things that stink. Ka-chow! And for them things that there are just too many of, and you really gotta blow something up, we got explosives too. So, you just say the word of what you need, and we'll get you fixed up. We don't have no mamby-pamby, run-of-the-mill insecticides like most places do. We want to make sure you have just as much fun exterminating these pests as they had infesting themselves in your territory. One moment, please.
Oh my God.
I think I got it.
Ew.
It needs salt.
Oh my god. Wow. I could hear that crunch so clearly. It was legit gross. Webster says you gotta breathe, girl. I am breathing, but she just like killed a bug in front of me. It's very creepy. I hope it tasted good without the salt, though. I'll get you some next time. So
Thanks.
get your. Where can they find the shop?
They can find the shop over in Kingdon. Clearly, they have an infestation site, so they just they set up shop just recently.
So let me
So
get this straight. This shop decided to make shop at a burnt city where there are no inhabitants. Love it.
yeah,
Great
yeah.
place for a shop. We're gonna
Any
bring everyone
adventurers
back
welcome.
again.
Yep. Yeah.
That's amazing. That really is amazing. Ron, are you done yet? Is Ron even here? Are we literally just gonna switch everything around? It's JLo.
Oh,
There he
there
is.
he is. Hi.
Ron rage at himself.
It's okay, Ron. We
Hold on,
love
I
you
can't hear
anyway.
you. What is going on with my computer today?
Oh, now you can't hear
I know
us?
why. There we go.
Can
Now
you
I
hear
can
us
hear
now?
you.
Hey.
Hello. Hey, let me fix this real quick. This is embarrassing. There we go. There we go.
Oh, but we love your face.
Well, it's still here. It didn't disappear.
I know.
Is it? Can you hear me? Okay? Is it?
Yeah, you sound great.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
I was saying we love you anyway, Ron, so don't even worry about it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I apologize. Now you know what just a little bit that the producers and everybody over the Dungeon Run have to deal with week to week with me.
Oh, are you saying you're always late, Ron?
No, I'm not always late, but I'm notoriously late. So, yeah, I just, it's always been a problem. It's always been a thing. Always is. I've literally tried so many things to solve the problem. Luckily, now I live with someone who's very, very kind to me and makes sure that I'm on time. Because when she's disappointed in me, it kind of hurts my feelings. So Heather is very good at keeping me on time. Yeah, so.
Heather, you are all of our heroes. Trust me. Trust me on that.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Oh.
How you guys doing? I have
Great.
one thing before we go anywhere. I gotta say, I got something. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Corbin Blade. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Yay!
Thank you, friend.
Thank you again. Happy birthday! I told you we'd make your birthday special. Seriously, Corbin Blade is so amazing. Thank you for that, Ron.
Well, I really got to say a shout out to Corbin Blade for all the gifts, because the number of messages I've gotten from friends that have been long gone have been like, man, I just saw you in my gift feed. It's like, yeah, it's this guy. That's the new famous, right? The new famous is the gift famous.
Right? Isn't it so weird and cool at the same time?
It feels sort of like maybe meme famous.
Yeah, almost.
Which I'm still up in the air about how I feel about that, but that's not what this show's about. I have a lot of opinions.
Okay.
I love the fact you have a lot of opinions, Ron. I've heard some of your opinions, and I think
they come out of my mouth. They escape.
They're pretty amazing. But you're right. The opinions of yours that I really want to hear today are Uggo's opinions. And you've been first of all, I know I've said it to you 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it again. I really think, especially the last 5 or 6 episodes, especially Ron, Uggo has been killing it.
Thank you.
He's been killing it. He's been awesome. He's been a very hot topic of discussion. He's brilliant. And so I wanted you to kind of talk to us a little bit about what is going on with Uggo as far as what is he thinking in terms of the timeline, the current situation. He's very frustrated, and I kind of want you to share with everybody what's going on with Uggo in his house.
Well, I think it started with the haunted house and getting really, really old all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think he didn't realize it when it first happened. It didn't really stick to him when it first happened. And so I think a lot of that is what's going on. And then to go from that situation where he's really, really old, and then to be pulled out of what's going on and say, oh, you have a choice, and then you don't have a choice because here's what the choice that you want or wish to have is going to be, and then slammed right back into the world in which now, what? For someone whose wisdom is one thing, but to be able to put things and keep track of what's going on, and what I like to say is keep a lot of juggling balls high. Uggo's not so good at that, right? Not so good at there's a lot of okay, hit it. So I think he's trying to grow out of that, right? We're seeing him that's not really a way to solve a problem. His family has clearly taught him that. But old habits die hard, I think. And I think it feels somewhat disingenuous to me if Uggo doesn't have some anger issues with what's going on. And if he doesn't show that that's still bothering him. And that though he might have this newfound faith, he's not solid in it yet, right? It's new. It's still very, very new. Not much has happened since he got old.
Right. Just slapping a faith sticker on there is not going to help you, especially whenever your faith is following truth and finding truth. Right now, you don't have a whole lot of truth to look for. You're trying to search for truth, and it's just not there.
That's absolutely it. And I think he sees signs that the Candle Queen is there. So he has something that he thinks or that he identifies as, well, this is the truth. This I can trust. This thing has been solid for me since I've been involved with it. So I think some of that is being tested by him. I think he's learning, we've talked about it. We haven't really gotten a chance to see any of it yet, but he talks about human mama, especially when he talks about like scientific method or skepticism specifically. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that going on with Uggo as well. I don't know what's real. So how do I determine what is real? Well, try this. If I take this and it hurts, that's probably real, right? Most of the time, that's probably real. That I felt that I have feedback, right? And so that's just an example of a type of feedback. And I think Uggo is looking for that. I think Uggo is really trying to find his feedback on, okay, I have this group of people who are suffering the same as I am, the same as I am in this timeline. They are a solid. I know I can trust that these people are here. Well, everything else seems untrustworthy. So I think he's trying to figure that out. And at the same time, keep it from his anger from overtaking him like it has in the past.
Right.
Anger doesn't just go away, right? Especially that kind of rage. I mean, he literally divines power from it, spiritual power from how angry he gets. So I think
kind of hard to figure out where to put that valve at.
Absolutely. And I think he's trying to find his way to find a valve that can at least allow him to control the flow better, right? If I can get a rage, what's the biggest one? Geyser. If I can get a rage geyser to trickle fast at the size of a pinhead, that thing will bore through anything in the world, right? If you take that same amount of pressure and focus it into one pinpoint area, that's power. And what do they lack? At least in Uggo's eyes.
Interesting.
So that's some insight into what's maybe going on or what you might be seeing with Uggo. Now, look, all of this changes, right? So the one thing that I love about this show, and I find fascinating that the six of us can do this together, is that you have to find motivations every moment of every episode. We're living in a living character. They're making changes. They're growing. In TV, in film, you've got one character. You have a certain time frame in that character's life, so you know what they're feeling at all, or you eventually your job is to know what they're feeling in every moment that you're in that thing. And so if you do that well, that's where we get good actors. But when you start improvising all of this, there are other methods and other ways to help us do that. We're all very skilled in that, but it's difficult. This isn't easy. This is very hard. I think sometimes we get judged for our choices in the moment. And sometimes, to me, this is just my personal opinion, it can feel a little unfair And only because it's in the moment. That in moment is, we have to make these decisions and think all the time. So
Yeah.
the one thing I can say is, I love that the fans are so involved and they so love our choices. But also remember, we're working hard to make this beautiful for you. So if anyone is out there, I've had one or two message me, not a big deal, but if anyone's out there that doesn't feel like this is valid, that maybe someone isn't making the right choice, remember, our choices in the moment matter. And we are working at this. So please, I love all of you. But remember, this is hard and we're trying our best.
Ron.
Yeah.
It is hard, and
I get emotional. You all know this. You know, I'm very open about this kind of stuff. This is the kind of things that I suffer with, and I recognize that it may be nothing I need to suffer over. I very much recognize that, but I worry about how the fans like us. I worry about how much you invest in this. This is important to every one of you, and so I want you all to know, if you don't already know, we all know that very much so. We talk about it constantly, how much our fan base matters and how much and the only reason we exist is because of all of you. So this is a relationship of sorts. So I just want to be clear on that kind of stuff.
well, I get that, but I do think the majority of us do see it, just how much you guys work in the moment, especially
Absolutely.
not even the fact that it's improvised and all that aside, the situations, especially lately, that Jeff has been putting you guys in is insane.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're not let's think on the spot how to handle all these situations, but you
Right.
guys are in it.
Right.
And it's just, and
But that's good drama, right? That's how good drama
definitely.
is. And we
For
all
sure.
trust each other. So we're all good with all six of us. That's absolutely solid. So that's why we can even do this kind of thing. But there's a seventh member, really kind of how I look at it is that there's a seventh member of the cast that's even harder, because we don't get to have the conversations with you like we get to have with each other. So that's
Right.
hard sometimes, right? You got to find a way to communicate with your audience, because that's what all of this is about. At least that's what I've been taught, that all of acting and entertaining is about, is learning how to communicate. And I identify as the real Ogden, and so for me, it's like, have a conversation. We're all people. I'm not important. I'm just someone that you enjoy watching, and I appreciate that.
Amen.
I
I feel
would-
the same way about a lot of people too.
I would reframe it as in you are important, and I would reframe it as everyone's important.
Right.
That's a better way. That's absolutely a better way. And that's in fact what I mean is, like, I'm not important because we're all important. It's the same concept as I talk about sometimes. We're all stardust. So we're both insignificant and the most unique and important things in the world all at the same time.
Yes, I agree. Ron, thank you again. I usually, like lately, I've been having a lot of rough Tuesdays, but I can't stress enough just how in this conversation, everyone here and you have already been making me feel a lot better. So
Great.
I'm trying to.
Same
It's been
here.
great. I have, on top of everything that you've already shared, which is very insightful and beautiful, a lot of us, and it was a very heated, not heated, that's the wrong word, energetic conversation in the Watch Party
Passionate.
channel. Passionate, my favorite word. Very passionate conversation about Uggo's thought process on specifically the trust thing. So I do find it's interesting that you say, this is what I can trust. This is solid what I can trust. And I do kind of want you to touch a little bit on it, about specifically where we ended that conversation, where you stated in the Watch Party channel that Uggo doesn't see the Wardens as family per se. Like, what have they done or shown that is family? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we've been shown, or what the heroes of Bengal have seen through the eyes of the Watchers, are visions, and not every vision you can trust, I don't think. Right? Uggo has experienced visions, I'm sure, that he couldn't trust. You have to remember, Uggo was betrayed by someone that he felt was the closest to him at a very young age. And so trust is going to be problematic in that person. I would point out that Uggo's quickness to trust these people around him is problematic in some ways, right? It sets him up for failure, if you really think about it. If these people weren't worthy of trust, that would set him up for failure almost immediately. the first time he's back in cahoots with more than just one person, with himself walking the lands. So there's some room there, I think, to identify that Uggo's going to have trust issues, even if he's found something to trust. It's not more that he doesn't. I think Uggo isn't struggling anymore with trusting others because his family has proven to him that he can hold trust in people. And even though he might think they've hurt him, none of them have ever hurt him on purpose. And none of them meant that. And that's okay. You always are going to hurt someone. It's inevitable. Something you do, something you say, it could be the slightest thing. Somebody's going to get hurt by something. And you've got to find a way to talk about that and solve that problem. And so I think Uggo is working with that, but now with reality. He got old almost instantly. And then he's dragged out of a timeline. He's dragged out of a timeline he was forced into and said, none of what you choose matters. Now go back into that timeline that you were pulled into.
Yeah, I really don't blame Uggo for being paranoid about this whole shebang.
Yeah,
really don't.
Right. And that's Uggo's view. That's not my view. I love where this is going. I am freaking fascinated, and it's great storytelling in my opinion. What Jeff is doing, though many could agree that it's rough, I love it. This is great for me. I'm enjoying myself. I've never enjoyed myself it's not I've never enjoyed myself this much in D&D. I have, but this is unique. This is brand new for me, and I'm finding some super joy in this. But you have to remember that I play a very angry character, and that is hard. It's not easy. Some of that I have to find. I have to find my real anger inside for to look real to you. And so I can struggle with that I'm going to struggle with it. It's part of the process. And I've got great, what's the word I'm looking for?
Insight?
Not insight. I've got great systems to help me deal with that stuff. Right? You build up your systems to help you handle and deal with those things. I have people I talk to, therapy, all of that kind of stuff. People you love, those things. And so for Uggo, this is that. Okay, I can trust these people. They've come with me to this reality. So the one that I think is real, these people are the only ones around here that know that's real. These 4 other people are the only ones that know where I came from is real.
Yeah.
If you put yourself into Uggo's shoes. And so that's fine. Well, they seem to be struggling with what's real just as much as Uggo is. Some are said, nope, this is what's real. Others are, I don't know what's real. Some are struggling to the point of they don't even know what to do. So test it. That is Uggo's source of cause chaos. Cause chaos has been test the reality around you. If you want to learn, how do we learn that fire is hot? Someone told you, or you touched something that was hot.
Stick your finger in the flame of the candle.
That's right. You burned yourself, but you learned something, didn't you?
Yep.
It just sucks for Uggo because this isn't necessarily the time to. I mean, it's dangerous to touch that fire in this case. So it's so interesting, and even though his logic, even as you say, it is sound. It's like they're on such a thin line as it is. It's like they have to be careful, and it's so suspenseful.
But here's the thing that I think is interesting the most. They have the amulet. That's super powerful. They've experienced how powerful that is. So what is so powerful that they've got to go back in time to figure out what it is to bring it back to use it?
Right.
What is that?
At least that's what you think you're bringing back.
Well, sure. But look, if a time dragon is pulling you out of the timeline to show you what would be happening and then stuff you back right in where you were before, what you're doing is very important, regardless of whether it's the right thing or wrong thing to do. It's very important. So that's really, I think, where Uggo is like, well, I'm on this super important thing, but am I supposed to do this thing or that thing? Or is there something I haven't even considered that I'm supposed to do? No one is telling me what I'm supposed to do with this thing. Or it's not maybe that Uggo isn't being told what to do with this thing. It's that Uggo doesn't understand truly what he's supposed to do with this thing yet. And there has been one powerful entity that has at least given him trackable success in that manner. The Candle Queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
If That's why Uggo asked the dragon immediately, what happens to my brother? That was a test in Uggo's eyes.
Yeah.
You didn't answer me.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was none of your business, according to the dragon.
Yes. My business. It's my brother. And it's an ask. It's an ask. The dragon didn't necessarily state out loud that it was asking something from us, but bringing us there and showing us what's happening, there's kind of a tacit agreement that you're asking for something. You need something. You don't just show this unless I'm important for some reason, right? If I'm insignificant to this, you don't even interact with me at all. How many millions of other people are there that didn't get to see a chrono dragon? So with that explicit ask, I'm allowed to ask then as well. And so Uggo said, what happens to my brother? No answer. You have now failed the task. If you want something and you're asking me, I'm going to ask you right back. If I don't love you and trust you, there's going to be some sort of, this is a negotiation. Lily taught him that.
Very interesting. Even I didn't know that.
Well, Lily taught him the malls. Things cost stuff.
That's true. And it's not just monetary. It's information, it's emotion, it's
power,
awareness, power, different kinds of things.
Right. His wisdom lined up with what Lily taught his intelligence, which is, yes, you can get power, but the reason things cost things is because that in itself has power. It might be a lot lower than what you might get for it, right? You might be trading a smaller amount of power for a bigger part if you're doing a good deal, or you're going to be trading a large amount of power for a little bit if it's a bad deal.
Okay. I get that. No, I think that makes sense. And Uggo was very much stood his ground with the Chrono Dragon. And I loved the part where I think it was James or maybe Fahima. One of them was like, show respect. He was like, I am. But showing respect and backing down are not the same thing.
Correct. I don't need to be weak in front of you. If you need me, you need my strength. Fine. I'll be who I am.
Right. Initially, I was like, oh no, Uggo, no. And then I realized what you were doing. And I was like, oh, yes. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So two things. I want to ask you one more question before I let you go. But first, I want to say, Cold Candor in chat said that Ron is his spirit animal, and I so agree with that. Literally, Ron, like your passions make me want to jump through the screen right now.
Yeah, and look, I'm just really passionate about this stuff, right? That's why I had to build into the code the passion keyword. Had to, because that's me, man. I just get really excited about stuff.
Ron, I think, if anything, I'm right there with you. It's amazing. I love the show. I just want to, it's so amazing. So I am curious too. It's something that you haven't been able to touch on much because it just happened and everything. Where right now does Uggo stand with Civ?
I think what people are seeing is maybe I don't know how many of you have brothers, but I've had a brother, Reed. You have talked about him. I love him dearly. That does not mean we get along all the time. Right? We still have disagreements. There are things that I do that Reed can't stand, and there are things that Reed does that I can't stand. We're just different people who love each other, and that's the way it is. And I think that's maybe what we're seeing is Uggo, it doesn't know how to properly, as wise as he is sometimes, he still falls short. He still doesn't always follow his own advice, right? Because his own advice would be talk to Civ.
Which he hasn't done.
Yeah. And that should tell you something.
It should, it tells me a lot.
Correct. Because in every other term, Uggo just comes out and says it with James all the time. No fear to say it right to him.
Yeah, I was definitely more curious that's why I was curious if because he apologized and admitted that his anger towards, especially when they were with the snakes, that I'm sorry, that was my anger and I want to apologize. I was curious if is he kind of putting that in the back burner, or does he still really want to talk to Civ? Because I don't really know what's going on with
I think that was more of a clarification. Uggo, I think, had a realization of that was a good move, but maybe he liked it a bit too much.
That's what I got. Okay.
So I think that was maybe what he was feeling guilty about. It felt good when he did it, and he's like, I can't do that. That's exactly what you were admonishing Civ about, Uggo.
Right.
So.
Okay. Ron.
Yeah.
Late or not, thank you so much. You were
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Thank
I
you.
can't. We really do. The community loves you so much. I almost swore
And
for the first
I
time.
honestly love you guys as well. Thank you so much.
And you know, at least from the community, but me too. We won't be. This won't be the last time I bug you. This won't be the last time we want your wisdom.
You're never bugging me. You're never bugging me.
I'm sure we'll all look to you soon because again, I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and Uggo is just on fire. I love the way that you show his struggles. You show the fact that yeah, this is still who he was. This is who he's trying to be. Here's his struggle. It's right there. You don't always need to, it's playing out in front of us, and it's so organic and beautiful and amazing, and it's a testament to your talent, your skill as an actor, your skill as a person, your passion. You're beautiful, and we love you and thank you again. And this is me being all in your face.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. You gotta
What
make
she
me cry.
said. What she said right there. Exactly what she said.
Thank you. Thank you
So
very
thank
much.
you
It's very
again,
kind.
Ron.
Absolutely.
And
Anytime.
we will definitely be
I think she is saying thank you very much for being on here. We really do appreciate you being on here.
Absolutely.
And you're welcome to come on anytime. We
Thank
we
you
really
so much.
appreciate you being on here.
Thanks,
So
guys.
thank you so much. Okay, well, I think we are ready for our next guest. We were going to do the commercial right here, but we already did it. So let's bring on our next guest, JloFett. How you doing?
Am I here?
Yes. But you're in two different places now. There we go. I think that's better. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you tilt your camera down?
Hey,
Thank you. Hey, JloFett. How are you?
good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Amazing, jazzed, excited. Everyone's amazing. Ron's amazing. I love this community. I love this show. And
All the things.
I didn't get to do your awesome intro. JloFett, you are one of the shining stars in this community. You are maybe on the wrong team, but I think that
No, you're
I
not.
can't stress enough how much joy you have brought into me personally, and I'm so excited that you're on today because you have been definitely a shining part in this community, and I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. And you actually got off so lucky today. I actually spent time going to two different places right before, like probably like an hour or so before you guys went live, looking for gold heart-shaped mylar balloons, and I was gonna buy like a dozen of them and have them hanging up behind me, and both places were sold out. So you got off so easy. They were like, I was like, what colors do you have? They were like, well, we have red and pink. We have purple. And I was like, no, purple's
Nope.
terrible. We can't get purple. So
See, here's the
you got
thing.
off lucky.
Actually, I would argue, Justin, you got off lucky because you made the mistake of telling me your plan. I almost ordered my own balloons, and I was like, you know what?
My.
I was like, I'm gonna let him have this one.
Yes. You should have. You should have. It would have made it that much greater when I came on and didn't have them because of just poor planning, and then you have them. I would have tipped the hat to that. I would have tipped the hat to that. For sure.
Yeah. Well, I think JloFett and I are another beautiful example about how, even though we're very passionate about two different teams, we genuinely come together as friends, as family, and just as Team Dungeon Run. We really are
Absolutely
very good frenemies.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
I think so too. I really do. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about you. This is your spotlight, your amazing spotlight. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about how you found the show and how you got into the community and all that good stuff.
So, yeah, I kind of stumbled upon a commercial advertisement for it on Facebook one day, and I've been into D&D for, I don't know, a good better part of over 10 years. never really got a chance to play a whole lot. Got introduced to it years ago by a really good friend of mine, and was instantly hooked. But you know how a lot of people can in the community can totally understand schedules and life circumstances and things that come up and how those can really kill a campaign and break a party up. And that's pretty much kind of where things happen with both campaigns that we had tried to get going. So yeah, I'd gotten really into to D&D because of that, and had been kind of just on the outskirts. Like I like it, but never really had a whole lot of time for it. And then just one day, this advertisement for this show called the Dungeon Run popped up on Facebook, and I was like, this looks really interesting. So I checked it out and was like, oh, they have stuff on YouTube from past episodes. This is amazing. Let me catch up. And went like I think maybe 2 weeks without being current because I was all that time up on the steps. And yeah, I immediately fell in love with it. Fell in love with the show and the cast. Fell in love with the community. I think the first time I got to actually hang out for a live show, I was just blown away by the level of community involvement, and not so much just the fact that there was people in chat, but the fact that the people in chat were like the sense and the sense of togetherness and community and that family vibe was so strong. I was like, oh man, this is home. I'm home. I've found my tribe. I have found my people. Like it was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I found an advertisement, checked it out, and I haven't left since. So I'm super grateful that I found it, and honestly very, very happy and just lucky to be a part of the community.
And vice versa. I think we're just as happy to have you. And I know your story in terms of how you got here and you got their spark to join back D&D. Can you tell everyone a little bit about the current D&D campaign that you're running?
Oh yeah, so as a player, I have very little experience, just because, like I said, time and life circumstances and scheduling and all that. So naturally, as a DM, I have absolutely zero experience. So in order to kind of get around that and kind of get my feet wet, as I guess if you will, I kind of just threw the idea out to my kids to see if they wanted to play, because they see me watching the Dungeon Run all the time. And my 3-year-old daughter, she calls Lord Araband Mr. Squiggleface. So
I love it.
So yeah, that was the first thing. She's like, the guy Mr. Squiggleface. And I was like, this is this is it.
Oh.
So yeah, I had been talking about playing D&D, and kind of I talked to my girlfriend about it. I was like, hey, I kind of want to do a campaign for the kids. What do you think? And she's like, hey, if you want to try to corral 3 children to sit down at a table and focus on one thing, by all means, go for it. So yeah, that's kind of what I did is I sat my kids down and was like, hey, do you guys wanna play D&D? And they were all for it. So we started brainstorming. I was like, hey, what do you guys want out of your adventure? And I got pirates, treasure, dinosaurs, and megalodon. So I was like, okay, we're obviously doing a pirate campaign, and somehow I'm gonna throw dinosaurs into the mix. So
why not? Just do it.
And Talk to Mermaids was on there as well. And that idea actually came from my girlfriend. So I was like, all right, let's do it. We're gonna talk to mermaids too. So yeah, that's where we're at. We've played 2 sessions so far, and they have been absolutely amazing. In the 2 sessions, just those 2 sessions, they have come such a long way, and they're starting to develop. It's a really watered down framework for it.
Yeah,
because they're so little. I mean, they're 7, 6, and 3. So I'm keeping it really simple for them. But
So
yeah, they're loving it. It's great. And I gave them free reign to kind of do whatever they want. Like, you know, it's just a lot of fun. It's been an awesome experience watching them get into this and to be able to share my passion for something with them and see that passion ignite and flourish in them.
Three things. Hornist in chat says JloFett just rolled an 18 on charisma.
Aw.
Yes.
Changebox said hashtag best dad ever.
Yes.
And I do want to point out, hey, Gorban Play, you finally have competition in the kids realm. So
Oh, true that. True that.
and I can't believe I didn't think about this until now, but he did post a very, very beautiful picture of him and his kids playing in the D&D general discussion chat on the Discord. So everyone, please check that out. It's adorable. And Gorban Play just responded, bring it.
Corbin, I would actually be totally up for us doing like a joint campaign with my kids and your kids if we could set
Aw.
something up on that. Totally awesome. As an unexperienced D&D player with very fresh, unexperienced D&D excited children, we need the guidance of a seasoned player with kids who know their way around the game. So I look to you for guidance, sir.
Gorban Play just replied, I was just thinking that. You just said that. Community coming together even more. I love the fact of playing with your
keep us
kids.
updated whenever, if you do that, please. I want to know more about
Absolutely.
We'll
have to work out the scheduling, but yeah.
With the game you're playing, I want you to continue to update us on every single episode, and in our last five-ish minutes, I wanted to kind of tell us a little bit about your thoughts specifically on the show in terms of some of your favorite scenes, some of your favorite moments. What keeps you? What is your kind of focus on?
Man.
What's your highlight?
I
know
mean,
we talked a lot about it.
Yeah, we did. I think the main thing about the show that really grabs, I think, most anybody is just the level of storytelling. I mean, the cast aside, they're amazing. It all starts with the storytelling and Jeff and the way that he lays everything out. I mean, it's his word painting is absolutely superb, and it is one of my it's one of my favorite parts of every episode is the recap of what happened leading up to the beginning of that episode, and it's just it's so awesome to listen to. But yeah, I mean, the storytelling that Jeff does and how invested the cast is as members of this team, they're just phenomenal. I don't think that there could have been a better group of individuals to put at a table and to get such natural chemistry out of them. Nothing ever seems forced. It all just unfolds very organically, and I've caught myself having moments where I'm listening to it on a podcast because I didn't get a chance to catch it, or I'm trying to watch it at work or watch it at home, and I'm catching myself laughing to the point of tears, or just getting super misty-eyed because of a particular situation that's taking place in game. They as a group, they just know how to really grab you by the heartstrings and pull you in and get you invested right from the start.
How many times have you cried?
Or
teary-eyed? Let's see if we can compare.
As a man who is very secure with himself and his emotional side, more times than I'd like to admit. Way more times than I'd like to admit.
Love it. Love it.
I think most recently, I think the one that really got me was the decision when Jeff pulled every player into that moment.
Yeah, you guys watched me get too right.
And giving them that choice, and it was like I was at work. At that time, I worked for Amazon, so I was actually out delivering to houses, and I'm walking up with packages, to deliver to houses with just this gaunt, just dreaded look on my face, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And people are like, thanks, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm important things happening. I gotta go. But yeah, when it got to his moment with Lily, like I lost it. Like I had to pull over and just sit there and take a moment. Completely honest, that was a heavy moment. I've through this part of the campaign, my heart has really gone out to Lily because she has been put in the most impossible of predicaments, and her resolve as an individual has really shown through, because I don't think many people would be able to face that in their own lives and be able to still wake up in the morning and carry on. Like it was just it's just been a gnarly experience watching her go through that.
It's true, and yeah, especially this time leap has just pulled on heartstrings. But as we all said, and as Ron pointed out earlier, and obviously I've been saying this, it's great. I want them to keep pulling on our heartstrings. That just makes it good entertainment.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of heartstrings and being vulnerable, do you remember, before we end the show together, do you remember what I told you my secondary goal for this stream was? Do you remember what I told you?
Yes.
Did it work?
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely did. Like we talked about when we first chatted, the other day. This show has been a real godsend in a lot of ways. There's been some pretty emotionally rough moments that I've personally gone through, and this community, the cast has been a rock, for me to lean on in a lot of ways. And there was a good time, like we talked about, where I wasn't able to be here because of just scheduling and being in school and stuff. And I've been very fortunate for that schedule to shift to allow me to actually have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. So being able to be back in the community, and the first day being back on a live show, the response, people just being like, dude, it's so great to see you. Like, we've missed you. Glad you could be back. It was genuinely an emotional moment. Like, it's amazing and a wonderful feeling to walk into a place and
Yes.
immediately be embraced and be loved and be welcome, and have people genuinely respond positively to you being there. So I'm grateful for it. I'm thankful for just to be a part of it, and I'm thankful for the opportunity that you've given me to be able to just sit here and talk about all the awesome things that I feel like I'm doing for my kids, and just talk about it for a little bit. So thank you.
And for everyone else who doesn't know, my secondary mission, I told him that I wanted to accomplish by the end of the night, was to have him see and realize just how much he has done for this community as he has done for us. And he really is a very beautiful soul. And
I appreciate it.
The honor is all mine, Justin. Before I get emotional now, this has been a great hour. It really has. Thank you again for being on here. Keep sharing your thoughts, your opinions, and keep being a shining star in this community, JloFett.
Of course. Thank you.
That said, everybody, let's please be kind to each other. I can't wait to see all of you guys tomorrow. And with that, everyone, I love you. Humankind.
Be both.
Both.